Why does this particular industry get special privileges from the government? For decades, the United States government has intervened on behalf of a product in order to protect a small group of companies. And the strange result has been not only higher prices for Americans, but the emergence of a competitive product that may be helping to kill us. So, how does it work? Believe it or not, taxes. You see, a handful of corporations lobbied the government to increase the taxes on sugar. But not just any sugar, the sugar that comes from other countries, namely places like Brazil and Mexico, where it's easier to grow and therefore cheaper to produce. Now, on the surface, this sounds like a win for American farmers, but it's really just a win for a tiny number of groups with the right political connections. In fact, the sugar industry in the United States is dominated by just a handful of large corporations, and these companies spend millions lobbying Congress to keep the tariffs in place. And why wouldn't they? The system guarantees their profits, and even though they claim that it's the overseas company that is paying the tax, it's actually consumers. Because just like any other cost of doing business, it has to be passed along ultimately to the customer, in this case, the average American shopper. And it doesn't really stop there. Industries that rely on sugar, like candy and food manufacturers, are also hit. Higher input costs force many of them to move production overseas, taking the jobs with them. So, while the tariffs enrich a small group of sugar producers, they hurt everyone else who buys sugar, either for their own consumption or for their businesses, whether it be a bakery, ice cream shop, or any other business that uses sugar. And guess what? These increased costs on production have led some industries to substitute sugar for something else, namely high fructose corn syrup, which, interestingly enough, the government is also subsidizing through corn subsidies. So now we have a situation where the government intervenes to help one American industry, ends up hurting other American industries, then intervenes again, only to hurt all of us. And not just in our wallets, but with our health as well, as many sugar alternatives are worse than the sugar itself. So why does this continue? I mean, surely once all the facts are out, politicians must come to the logical conclusion that all this meddling and market manipulation has just made us all worse off, both economically and health-wise. But nope. The system not only continues, but thrives, all because of a little concept called concentrated benefits and dispersed costs. You see, the costs of all of these government interventions are largely hidden to the average American consumer. High fructose corn syrup and everything from soda to bread just becomes kind of normal. After all, if it was that bad, the FDA would do something about it, right? And as far as that additional cost for sugar, well, you might not even realize it's there. And even if you did, you probably wouldn't be mad enough to start launching the kind of widespread protests or lobbying campaigns that would be necessary in order to change it. Now, on the other hand, the companies which depend on the prices being high or the government subsidies to come in, they're the ones raking millions as a result of this policy. They have every incentive to aggressively lobby to make sure these government interventions stay in place in the name of American jobs or patriotism. But in reality, it's just their company's bottom line. The costs are dispersed among all of us, but the benefits are concentrated to them. And of course, the political campaigns they donate to. And so the system continues. Now, maybe it wouldn't be so bad if it was just sugar, but look closely and you're going to see that this problem impacts enormous portions of our economy. Now, some might argue that what is really needed is to get rid of lobbyists, but the lobbyists didn't cause the problem. Politicians and bad economic policy did. Companies are supposed to be rewarded based on how well they serve us, their customers, not how well they serve politicians who make the rules. The way we defeat this kind of cronyism is by ensuring that we send representatives that understand that their job is not to pick winners and losers in the economy, but to allow for a free, robust, and transparent marketplace where customers decide what they want and how much they're willing to pay for it, not politicians.